Hi students. So in the last class we discussed dual nature of matter and the de Broglie hypothesis, de Broglie wavelength and its equation, and that equation in terms of kinetic energy or applied battery potential to make that charged particle to be accelerated in the presence of external battery having the potential V, and that equations we derived, and by using that equations we can be find out de Broglie wavelength, that is the wavelength associated for matter, that is matter waves. So the matter waves wavelength is known as the de Broglie wavelength, and that wavelength formula we written in different forms, correct? And now these particles are having, or the matter having the particle nature and dual, that is a wave nature, that is a dual nature of matter can be exist, that is according to de Broglie. So he is given theoretically the equation for the wavelength associated for that matter waves determined, and which is known as de Broglie wavelength. But practically whether the matter can be possess the wave nature or not, okay, that is he considered, or some other two scientists considered a particle, that is electron, and that electron is a particle by default that we know, but that electron when it is moves with certain acceleration, there you can be observed that electrons can be possess wave nature. So that is experimentally determined by using an experiment with two persons made that one, that is Davison and Germer. The two scientists name are Davison and Germer, and they made an experiment. From that experiment they proved that electrons can possess the wave nature. They are experimentally given, and what is that experiment, how they determined, and what are the observations we can get the result from this experiment. That is here Davison and Germer experiment. So this experiment is to prove the electrons can possess the wave nature. So right, so here we require electrons. So here what is they proved here, electrons has wave nature. Now for this the experimental arrangement. So here experimental arrangement, what it consists. So that is here we have an evacuated chamber. It is isolated from the surroundings, and in this there is a filament, and which is given low tension potential, that is a low voltages are given LT, it is represented as, and when this low tension battery is given for this filament, so this filament is made up of tungsten, and once this potential is applied for this filament, because of the heat is produced in the filament, and from that filament the electrons are emitted. Here electrons will be emitted from this filament, and they can be come out with certain velocities. So here electrons you can be getting. So that is because of thermionic emission the electrons can be getting from this filament, right? So once these electrons are emitted from the filament, these electrons are having certain amount of the kinetic energy. They have some little amount of the kinetic energy. The velocities are smaller. For these electrons, there is an external high potential battery is applied here. There is a high potential battery is applied for this one, where you can be observed to be having, here you have an arrangement, where that arrangement in which these electrons are gets further accelerated by giving here high tension HT. High tension battery is applied. This battery is only purely for accelerating these electrons. The electrons which are emitted from the filament, they gets accelerated by applying an external voltage with the help of this high tension battery, right? Once these electrons are gets accelerated and they made allowed to fall on a target material, they will be striker, and these electrons are made to be collimated. That means they has to propagate along a straight line. So with that straight line, these electrons are going and striking here a target. This target is a nickel target. We have here nickel target material is there. On this target, these electrons are moving and striking with very high kinetic energies, because here these electrons are gets accelerated by using this high tension battery. Once these electrons are made collide with target material of this nickel crystal, from this crystal these electrons are gets scattered, and here the process called as the diffraction of these electrons are made across this crystal. So that is the electrons are gets here electrons are gets diffracted, they will be scattered, and these scattered electrons are collected by a movable collector. And on this there is an extension of this part, you can be having a galvanometer is there here. You have here a galvanometer, and this is the movable collector. It can be collect the electrons which are gets scattered from this nickel target. That electrons can be collected by this movable collector. So this movable collector functioning is only to absorb that electrons which are gets scattered from this nickel target after these electrons made striking on the nickel target material. Right. So once these collector can be absorbed that electrons, based on that intensity of electrons the collector is absorbed, accordingly this galvanometer will be shows the current. The deflections in the galvanometer will be shows according to the intensity of that electrons which can be absorbed by this collector. Right. So this is how what you can be observed, that experimental arrangement made by these two persons to prove this electrons can possess wave nature. That is Davison and Germer, they made an experiment. In that the arrangement is what we have here. So first that electrons are emitted from this filament, and here by the process called as the thermionic emission. By the process of thermionic emission from that filament we are getting the electrons, and these electrons are not having enough kinetic energy. So these electrons are gets accelerated by applying an external battery with a high tension battery is applying, and with this battery these electrons are getting accelerated, and once they got very high kinetic energies, with that kinetic energy they can be incident on a nickel target. Once they made incident on the nickel target, they made scattered in all possible directions, and in whatever may be the directions they can be made scattered, they will be collected by this movable collector up to the 180 degrees. It can be makes a movement and absorbs that electrons and gives you the intensity or current measurement in this galvanometer. Right. So in this experiment, what these two persons made, so here this potential is varying for these electrons, so that it's a scattering angle. That means here the angle of incidence, this is the initial direction of the electrons, but once they made scatter collide with this target material nickel target, so they made scattered with a different angles, that is scattering angle. Right. So now here these two persons are observed by changing the potential of 44 volts to 68 volts. For this high tension battery, they are changing the potential varying from 44 to 68 volts of potential. They are varying for these electrons with different angles. They can be made scattered at different potentials, and in these two persons are observed at a particular voltage of 54 volts with a scattering angle of 50 degrees. At this potential, and that scattered electrons are made an angle of scattering angle of 50 degrees. At that the intensity of electrons are moving with a scattering angle of this 50 degrees is very high, and that collector is observed that all electrons, and more deflection can be observed in the galvanometer. So the galvanometer shows that deflection is high. At what incident and what potential is applied for that electrons? At a 54 volts of potential with a scattering angle made by that electrons are 50 degrees. There you can be observed the intensity of scattered electrons are more. How you can be observed that? That is observed, the deflection can be seen from the galvanometer. From the galvanometer, the more deflection is made, which implies that more number of electrons are collected by the collector. Because that we can say that at that potential with that scattering angle, that is a 50 degrees and 54 volts of that accelerated potential, the current maximum you can be observed in the galvanometer. Correct. So at this voltage with this scattering angle, these two persons are observed with that scattering is takes place at the same time. Diffraction is also made. These electrons here, these electrons are made. Diffraction can be takes place across this crystal. That is, the phenomenon of diffraction at crystals are studied by these two persons, and that spectrometer experimentally determined the value of wavelength associated for the electrons which made diffraction. That means here, by diffraction at crystals, diffraction of electrons at crystal are studied by these two persons, and in that experiment this diffraction and across these crystals, when this diffraction process is made by that electrons, there they applied the Bragg's concept and they calculated experimentally with the help of spectrometer, and they given the wavelength associated for these electrons. So when you can get the diffraction can be observed only for wave nature. So that means there you can be observed the wavelength associated for these electrons when they made the diffraction phenomena can be calculated with the help of a spectrometer by applying the Bragg's formula. So all those are the derivations are not there, just the result what is getting. That is here lambda. It is experimentally. So experimentally the wavelengths associated for these electrons when they made a diffraction from that crystal of nickel target material, there that experimentally determined the value of lambda is given by, it is a 1.65 angstrom units. The wavelength experimentally calculated by these two persons with the help of the diffraction of electrons are made across this nickel crystal. With the process of this diffraction, there by using the device called as a spectrometer, with the help of the spectrometer, the wavelength associated for that electrons which made a diffraction at that nickel crystal determined, and which is given by 1.65 angstrom units. So this is experimentally determined. At what potential? 54 volts. What is the scattering angle? 50 degrees. With these values or with this condition, the diffraction phenomena takes place by that electrons at a nickel crystal. There the spectroscope device is used to determine wavelength associated for that electrons, and which is given by 1.65 angstrom units. So these values are determined experimentally. But what about the value of the wavelength associated for the same electrons at the same potential is applied, that is the 54 volts. At the same potential of 54 volts, theoretically, the equation provided by the de Broglie, with the help of the de Broglie equation, what is the wavelength associated for that electron when it is gets accelerated by using a potential of 54 volts, that you calculated as here by de Broglie equation, by de Broglie equation, we have the wavelength. It is a theoretical calculation by using the formula that is provided by the de Broglie. So what is that formula for the wavelength associated for that any matter which is given in terms of potential? That is here, it is 12.27 upon square root of applied potential. It will becomes in angstrom units. So this equation already we did in the last video, right? So now we can be having here the formula or the equation given by the de Broglie for calculation of wavelength of matter waves, which is known as the de Broglie wavelength. That is given by 12.27 upon square root of applied potential, which is calculated in angstrom units. Now you just substitute here what the potential applied for that electrons to gets accelerated. So that potential is 54 volts. So now you can calculate the wavelength associated for these electrons at a potential of, it is 12.27 upon square root of 54. So you can get this one, it is in angstrom units. So this value is determined with the help of de Broglie wavelength equation. Now you can get this one, it is theoretical, it is 1.67 angstrom units. So now you see this value and this value. So theoretically we got it is 1.67 angstrom units. So practically from that experiment they calculated, that is a Davison and German given, and they got also it is 1.65 angstroms. So this value, very good agreement, which represents that. That means the electrons can be possess the wave nature, right? So here theoretical value, practically the value determined for the wavelength for that electrons gets acceleration with a potential of 54 volts. Calculated, it is experimentally, it is a theoretically, the value will be both are equal. So this is a way by which these two persons, that is a Davison and Germer, both made to be proved that the electrons are having the property of dual nature, that is a wave nature as well as particle nature also. So every matter has the dual nature, it can be behaves as particle nature as well as it can also having the property of wave nature, right? So in this way the electron can be also possess the which nature, wave nature. So this is given by whom? That is a Davison and Germer, right? So this is, you can be observed the experimental verification or the determination of or proving the electrons can possess the wave nature, right? Now in this we can have, there is one more important observation. By using the de Broglie hypothesis concept, you can also have proving an information given by the Bohr. That is here, you know the Bohr's model in your chemistry in your first PUC. So I am not giving that, we will discuss in atoms, that models, atomic models are there, all that we will discuss in atoms chapter. At present I will give you the second postulate of Bohr, that is proved by the de Broglie by his hypothesis. So how is proved? What is the Bohr's second postulate? So here Bohr's second postulate proved by de Broglie. Proved by de Broglie. So in this, so what is the Bohr's second postulate? So we have the Bohr's postulate, second postulate is the electron which is revolving in any orbit, that electron can be having the angular momentum. The angular momentum of electron in any orbit is equal to, or it is directly proportional to, integral multiple of h by 2 pi. The angular momentum of any orbit is equal to the integral multiple of h by 2 pi, is called as a Bohr's second postulate. So that is given theoretically by the Bohr. Bohr is not proved that equation or the postulate. That is proved by the de Broglie. So how is proved? So here the Bohr's second postulate is, you can be having here angular momentum of electron in any orbit. Let it be, it is nth orbit, which is given by n times of h by 2 pi. So this is the n is the electron in which orbit it is revolving. So accordingly the n value will be changes here. So the angular momentum of electron in nth orbit is given by n times of h by 2 pi, where you can be having n is equal to integral multiples up to n value, right? So now you can write this equation, angular momentum is given by nh by 2 pi is provided by the Bohr, but is not proved. He just given the theoretically the equation is given by this one, but this equation is proved by de Broglie from his hypothesis. That is here how is proved. See here, when an electron is revolving, when it is in motion, when it is in moving state, definitely it can be has the property of wave nature, right? So to complete one revolution, it can be having the minimum of the wavelength is requirement is lambda. The integral multiple of wavelength is nothing but that electron can be possessed in the respective orbits. So that is given by the de Broglie. So every orbit or that electron present in the any orbit, if it is there, suppose it is in fifth orbit, so 5 times of lambda will gives you the total path covered by the electron in that particular fifth orbit. So in any orbit, suppose in nth orbit the electron is revolving, then the perimeter of that circular path followed by that electron is equal to n times of the wavelength associated for that electron in that orbit. So that is given by the de Broglie. So here, as we know, when the electron is, suppose it is revolving in the nth orbit, electron is revolving in the nth orbit, let it be this center, that is you can be having the nucleus. So about this it is revolving in nth orbit. The radius is here, it is Rn, and which is electron is moving with a velocity of Vn in that orbit. Now you can be observed, once that electron is revolving, it can has the property of wave nature. So the wave nature can be, you can be observed to be having in this. Like this, you can be having the wavelengths associated for that electron which is revolving around the nucleus. So like this you can be observed to be having. Like this you have. In this it is given that by de Broglie it is given that the perimeter of circular path is equal to n times of wavelength of that electrons in that orbital path. So now here perimeter of circular path, that means nothing but it is a 2 pi r. R is here, that electron is there in the nth orbit, so I am writing it is a Rn. Now I can write this one, 2 pi Rn is equal to n times of lambda, make it equation 1. But what is the equation? Lambda by de Broglie wavelength. You have de Broglie wavelength. Lambda is equal to h by p or h by mv. Now this is second equation. So now I can put the second equation in first equation. There you can be get it is from observing equations 1 and 2. There you can be get here it is 2 pi Rn is equal to n times of lambda. Lambda is here it is h by mv. It is a Vn I can write because that electron is revolving in the nth orbit and velocity of that electron is Vn I can write. Now just rearrange the terms. Here this will be 2 pi I can write this side, this mvn I can write this side. That is here mvn Rn is equal to n times of h by 2 pi we will get. So mvr, mass into velocity into radius, it is nothing but angular momentum of that particular object when it is following a circular or rotational motion, or circular path or rotational motion. So mvr, it is nothing but angular momentum of electron in nth orbit is equal to n times of h by 2 pi. So this is actually what it is given by the Bohr. But here de Broglie is verified. Whatever the Bohr second postulate given by him is a correct for the explanation of that revolving electron in any orbit. The angular momentum is given by integral multiple of h by 2 pi. Right? In this way, the de Broglie is verified the second postulate given by the Bohr to study the atomic structure. That is energies or whatever the information related to that atoms given atomic structure given by the Bohr. That second postulate is verified by the de Broglie. Right? So this is what you can be having the de Broglie wavelength equation application for proving this second postulate of Bohr. Right?